Hey everyone, welcome to our first Conversion Alchemy weekly website teardown. And we are starting off with a bang here with our friends at Balsamiq. And I was fortunate enough to visit their HQ lately in Italy, and it was awesome. So let's see, they actually just sent out this email and they're looking for a marketing person. So it's going to be interesting to look at their website and maybe give them a few pointers on, especially this point here. Our positioning could be communicated better, and our product offering is confusing with too many versions and uncommon pricing. So for these teardowns, I like to use kind of this my model for looking at website for tearing down websites, and it's divided in these three areas, right? So we're gonna look at each one. I always like to imagine our visitor kind of like this skeptic guy here with a checklist, kind of let's see what this site is about, right? And then we move on. The first area that we're going to look at is the empathize and guide, which means we have to basically match what visitors are thinking and guide them through the first action that they have to take on the website. Let's see how the guys at Balsamiq do it. So first, their value proposition. So this has been this way since forever. I think it's. I think it's really good. I mean, it's unique. Maybe it's not super specific. It doesn't really tell you what they do yet, but they have quite a lot of brand recognition around. So I think it's fair to assume that this works. What I'm not really a fan of, it's these dynamic pieces of copy here. I would rather focus on a more specific subheadline here that kind of goes deeper into what bad software looks like and who they actually help. Then we have since 2008, our mission is to help rid the world of bad user interfaces. I would probably remove this. This is kind of like a repetition of this first line and doesn't really add anything new. So maybe it's good to mention since 2008 somewhere smaller, like circa 2008 would be good. But yeah, I would definitely go deeper and more specific, especially on the subhead here on who they do this for and why is it unique, right? So I know, I mean, I've been a user, I have it here in my computer. I have been a user of Balsamiq for quite some time, so I kind of know their uniqueness. And I'm sure that there's going to be a good way to actually describe it right away at the top here. Um, as far as, let's see, we have empathize and guide. So as far as empathizing, we could definitely do better here. Yeah, kind of mirroring, matching what people have in mind when they get here. Okay, life's too short for bad software, but yeah, what exactly do you mean with bad software, and what do you do to fix that, right? Then we have guide. So that's one big area that I noticed. It's kind of a bit messy here all around, which is what's the next action that you want me to take, right? So there's a lot of calls to action. It's not really clear which one is a primary. I mean, we can see that the buy one, it has a different color, so it's definitely the primary one for them. But is that the best one at this point? Usually, it's kind of hard to convert right away on the homepage, and we can see that they are sending me kind of all over the place. So they want me to maybe check out the cloud trial, download the desktop app, buy what exactly. Uh, then we have the educational section. They have an uh, entire website dedicated to teaching you how to wireframe, which is great. But then again, we have three calls to action. So, do you want me to check out the intro here? Do you want me to read the articles or get even more learning resources? So, I would definitely try to stick with one call to action at least per section here. The testimonials with the pictures are awesome. I love those. The other thing that kind of stands out here to me, it's not really clear um, why these sections are completely different as far as design. There's a lot of separation here, so I would probably have this section a bit more secondary. I know that education is important here, but you could probably combine this section and the company section, maybe in one section have one call to action per each and keep it a bit more secondary. Because one thing that I notice here, um, when it comes to clarify and sway people, it's on the homepage we don't really speak a lot about the product, right? So yeah, there's this product section, but it's kind of has the same priority as this learn and this company section. The visual hierarchy is kind of on the same level, when I think at this point it would be a bit more helpful if you kind of explain the product a bit better, maybe like the three, four major benefits or differentiators of the product, rather than just having one single section and sending people away. So yeah, just tell me, why is Balsamiq great? Why is it different from the rest? I'm not actually even seeing how the product looks like here, so I'm not entirely sure what is it that you're offering. Like if I was someone new to Balsamiq, I would probably think that they are kind of sort of like a university that offers also some kind of software. So it's not entirely clear. I would definitely try to be more specific there. So yeah, empathize and guide. We could definitely do a better job here. Clarify as well. What about persuading, swaying us? Again, there's not much. I would definitely try to include a couple benefits to using this product versus other products. Why do I need this versus Figma, right? So what makes them different? What makes this better in certain use cases, and so on. We of course we don't need to compare it to other platforms here. I would probably advise against that, but at least tell me why it's unique, which is part of your positioning, right? So clarify the positioning. If I go to product, I can see one thing that kind of destabilizes me. It's the change in design. I would probably, as far as like a UX perspective, to keep the flow a bit more consistent, I would probably have the whole uh, background of the website on these same lines, so the keeping the red, because I see that changes if I go to section changes again. So it's good that you have a branding for each area, especially for the educational section, but I would try to stick with a bit more consistent layout design. So product here, let's see again, a lot of calls to action, right? So Balsamiq trial, cloud, download desktop app, buy, and then we have this video, which is good here, zero learning curve, and yeah, so it highlights a bit like some generic aspects. What about like giving me a step-by-step example of how you use the software, right? So in this page you could have like left right sections alternated that just give me an example of how I can create I don't know, a browser window like this one, and maybe add some kind of app controls in 30 seconds, something like that, right? So just one, two, three, how that works, so that I can see exactly, especially on the product page. I would usually always try to include screenshots of what the app looks like, not necessarily on the homepage where you can use maybe just illustrations like mockups, but on the product page, especially if it's a SaaS, I would try to include screenshots of what the app looks like to give people an idea. And it's great that you give me the actual results, what I can produce, but also, yeah, it would be nice to have a flow of how that works. So what is it that you do? So quick and easy wireframing tool. sketch your user interface ideas and get everyone on the same page. It makes work fun. Okay. Quick and easy wireframing tool. Again, it's not super differentiated. Figma could be same kind of. It's easy as well. You can wireframe. So what exactly is different from Balsamiq? And start specifying, okay, that you have like pre-made templates, that you can sketch things in seconds versus having to actually come up with designs from scratch. So all that good stuff. Zero learning curve, power when you need it. So this is good, but again, I would like to see it a bit more of a visual representation of what this looks like. Design for collaboration. Software teams come together around the right design using Balsamiq. UX designer, love the familiar. Again, here, this is good. So software teams, consultants, but I would probably go maybe have a deeper section for this. So why UX designer and you have a paragraph, product manager and you have another paragraph, separating these and give a bit more context on the different use cases. And then it would also be a good jumping off point for having individual pages. So you could have a UX designer use case page, a product manager use case page, a consultant use case page. That would be great. Uh, this one, everyone's first UX tool. What do you mean exactly with first? After reading it, thinking about it, yeah, okay. I mean, you basically mean my primary UX tool, right? But at a first reading, it kind of looked like it meant the first, as in beginner UX tool. So that's one thing for the positioning that I would probably try to change. It's good that it's quick and easy, fast, but I would definitely try to separate the concept of easy and fast from being a tool for beginners, right? Because it's easy, okay, but at the same time, it can be used from experts of all kinds. It's just a different way of representing wireframes that can be used at a different stage of the creative process. So that's probably the most like the clearest differentiator change that I would make as far as positioning. It's not like a beginner's tool, but it's more of like a different stage of the process. Our sweet spot, the ideation phase. So yeah, so this is kind of my point, right? Make this point a bit more prominent throughout the website, that this is a tool for ideation versus presentation, or versus the stage right before the mockups. So making that a bit more clear. Get honest feedback, improve your design by getting immediate and meaningful feedback. Our sketchy style helps focus the conversation on content and interaction, not minor details. This is good, but again, it's kind of cramming a lot of stuff. I'd much rather see individual, maybe one image of one screen with an annotation. It kind of throws a lot of stuff at me, and I'm not entirely sure what I'm looking at as far as the prioritization. And I think sketch style controls, clean wireframe option. So these are good features, but you could definitely go a bit deeper into other features that Balsamiq offers. On this page, it's mostly about generic, like high level benefits versus the actual features and how it works. So it would be good. It's good as a high level product overview page, but I would also try maybe even here to add specific feature sections, or have individual feature pages that you could expand the product on. So that's a good area to invest some time and work as far as copy for the website. The learn while framing, this is great. I would probably, as far as the navigation, I know that it's important, but I would try to maybe have it a bit more on a secondary place here. So, and focus these first links on the actual product. So yeah, maybe have a product and use case pages. keep the educational section a bit further to the right here, and you can actually have, instead of buy, a pricing page to make things clearer, and also to help people be familiar with the structure of a website that they're already used to, like Nielsen Norman says in one of their 10 commandments of UX. So that's probably one of the things that I keep in mind for the navigation. Also here you add kind of a secondary navigation, which is the categories, I think. Um, Not sure if I would place it here right next to this navigation menu. But yeah, obviously we'd need to check that, maybe user test that and see how that goes. Yeah, this page is pretty straightforward. Here I like the categories, here the topics, how they're divided, so nothing really to say here. Company, again, this is great. They do a great job as far as presenting the company, locations. I remember that they had a lot of great articles about around their policies, how to work at Balsamiq, how working at Balsamiq really is. So that's great. Yeah, I don't really see much about the actual product here. So that's definitely one main thing that I would work on here, expanding the copy around the product and explaining a bit more. So as far as our phases, there's definitely work to do on the empathize and guide and clarify and sway sections. As far as the last one, shield and lead, this basically just means protect visitors, prospects against any risk, and leading them through the funnel, through the checkout or whatever, the sign up. So in this case, again, if we go on the pricing page, that's one of the things that they were mentioning here. So too many versions and uncommon pricing. This is something that obviously it's a bit out of place for me to recommend, because it's a lot about strategy, product vision, but definitely there's not really a clear starting point, because here you lead me to the 30-day free trial, but is it trial of what? The cloud version? Okay, so here is the cloud, and then we have the desktop. It's a totally different UI, right? So there's the checkout here, and also the selection here. Why not have one field where the user inputs the number of users, and then you just show them the price change here dynamically? That would be probably a bit easier to understand. Uh, yeah, in general, I would try to keep, if you have tables here, I would probably try to keep the same kind of layout here, using one table maybe where you have to change the number of users. And then you have integrations here. Definitely, I would try to keep the integration as more of like a separate package. So focus on these two, Balsamiq Cloud and the desktop, and try to make their interface here in the pricing page more consistent and clearer. For the cloud, you have 2 projects, 20 projects, 200 projects. Again, here, probably this could be simplified with inputting the number of projects that someone need. Not entirely sure about the strategy here, but could definitely be easier. And as far as the call to action, as I was mentioning before, I would definitely try to focus a bit more. So here, start Balsamiq trial, start download the desktop app. So what is it exactly that you want me to do? So it's probably at this point on the homepage better to just send people to the pricing page and let them decide there. Same again here on the product page. It's a bit too many calls to action at this point, when people are still trying, you're still trying to clarify and sway people. So rather than just sending them to a lot of different places, just focus their interactions somewhere simpler. All right, I hope that this is helpful, at least some pointers. Obviously, not having done any research on this, This is a disclaimer, but at least I hope that there are some directions and some pointers that you can use to improve this. Cheers.